fought the rest, now try the best!
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. A question that I receive pretty often is when will Kunimitsu release and when will the developers continue updating the game? Because, they promised to do so at the start of Season 3 and players have a lot of questions. Now, the first answer to this question leads us to the character promotional material that they released in Season 3. Here you get a look at the DLC characters and roughly when they will release. For Kunimitsu, late spring, Bob, summer, Roger, autumn, and then the final character is winter. That is the character that will probably release around the time of GTA, so they better make it worthwhile if they want to retain their casual audience and their core audience. But as for Kunimitsu, it says late spring. When you search it up on Google, late spring usually means May or early June. Now, this is around the time of Evo Japan. We'll talk about that and what this kind of means in just a second, but I want to refer to the patch notes for those of you guys who are waiting for that. So in the patch notes for Season 3.0, they gave us kind of a bullet point on what the next two updates will be. Version 3.0.02 is scheduled for mid-April. Wait a minute, that should be around the time you guys are seeing this video. So I don't know what that update will be. I don't know what they're going to do. Maybe I'll be making a follow-up video about time you see this, kind of highlighting whatever that update is, because in this section here, they literally say nothing about it. And considering that this is the update that will probably be played on Evo Japan, hopefully they do some more updates, they do some more tweaks, they do some more adjustments. The developers still haven't specified whether or not they will do balancing through tournaments. Last year and the year before, they really didn't want to do that. So with this being the only kind of update that's scheduled before Evo Japan gets started, hopefully they really knock it out of the park and they could deliver something that the players could be happy with. I know everyone got their expectations low, but that shouldn't be the norm. They should still try to deliver something, because this tournament is going to be the tournament and a thing that people have to experience for who knows how long. So make it worthwhile and also give clarification if more updates are to come. Now you have the next one here, which is version 3.01. Now, this is kind of like the next iteration of Season 3, and this is scheduled for late spring 2026, the same time as Kunimitsu is listed. They say here, we are currently reviewing priorities while considering fixes for bugs, adjustments to behaviors that results in excessive rewards, and performance tuning centered on the heat system. Fixes that can be addressed in short term will be implemented sequentially, while changes with significant impact will be introduced step by step throughout each update after sufficient verification. So they're basically saying before we do any major changes to the game, we want to, verify, we want to test it, make sure it's right, and then introduce it gradually, because sometimes you can use characters like Lydia as an example where they buff a character too much and then they over nerf her, so they kind of want to try to take chips at something. They haven't listed a character, they didn't say what, but they are trying to basically take little steps. But considering that late spring usually means May or early June, this tells me that this update will be happening after Evo Japan. Now, at the time of recording, Evo Japan is 18 days away, 13 hours. And this tournament will be taking place on May 1st to the 3rd. So what I'm predicting that the developers will do here is that they will show Kunimitsu's trailer, and then at the end of it, they will have a Bob teaser. Because if you keep in mind, the way that they did it last year is that they showed, let's say Anna Williams, and at the end of the Anna Williams trailer, they had an Armor King teaser. When they showed Armor King, at the end of Armor King, they had a Fakaram teaser, and they continued that all the way up until basically Marizu, where they didn't necessarily tease the character because she was a new character and they want to highlight her in her own original way. But for the three characters preceding, that's what they've done. Now, once they reveal the character Kunimitsu and show off her gameplay trailer, tease Bob as well, I'm assuming that they will probably give us a little bit of information about the update that they want to do. They'll probably do another dev post like the one that I just showed you guys, where they'll go a little bit more in detail, kind of summarizing what the update is offering. But then also, if I was to take a guess, I would think that the character Kunimitsu and the update will release probably that following week. I know a lot of players feel like the developers are taking forever to release these characters and release this update, but you have to keep in mind that they use Evo Japan as a core part of their promotion for the characters. And for some weird reason, Evo Japan is getting later and later in the year. Here you can see where it started, where it was January 26th to the 28th. Then it was February. Then it was late February. And then you fast forward a couple years later, and then it's March and April. It's late April. And then now it's middle of May. I don't know why Evo Japan is getting further and further away, but when they do that, it kind of makes the developers who rely on these tournaments for the reveals to delay their characters and their announcements and move things around. Maybe Evo is doing this in preparation for some of the other tournaments that they are planning to introduce. You know, there's going to be about 10 of them in 2027. So that could be something they're taking into consideration. And also, I think this reliance on Evo and the three that currently exist so far, that will also be wiped away next year because the developers will have 10 opportunities to show whatever character and they wouldn't have to wait this long. In Season 1, Eddie released on April 5th. I believe his early release date was April 2nd or something like that. And then with the character Anna, she notoriously released on April 1st, and then her actual launch was April 3rd, I believe. So you can see that we are having to wait a little bit longer when it comes to Kunimitsu's launch. Another indicator as well is you can look at the battle pass and see when that expires. And this one here says there is 44 days left. That is a month and a half. And this is kind of like the worst case scenario. Evo Japan is 18 days away, and if they were to wait another 30 days on top of that to release Kunimitsu, that would probably be big trouble. But it's kind of likely because Bob will want to release so soon, and they usually start these new battle passes with characters. They are doing things a little bit different in season 3. A lot of the scheduling and timing is pushed around like in the previous 2 seasons as well. They started the season at the same time they released the first character. They didn't do that. So it's too hard to say definitively whether or not they'll do it after Evo Japan or they will do it in 44 days when the battle pass expires. Regardless, I think it's very important that the developers deliver a fun and exciting character. Kunimitsu was absolutely diabolical in Tekken 7, and I feel like that was kind of by design, the same way Heihachi Install is diabolical by design, Eddie, Lydia, and so many of the other DLC characters. But they also have shown us that they can make characters that aren't truly game breaking, right? We see Fahkumram, we see Armor King. Even though Marizu is kind of stand slop, she still isn't wild like Anna. So if the developers can deliver some more of that, I think Season 3 could get off to a good start in terms of DLC characters and also just making something fun, interesting, and unique. In Tekken 7, Kunimitsu's usage data at the start was kind of low, but then it started to rise dramatically over time. So they're probably banking on the popularity of this character and also Bob as well. He's a fan favorite. They're probably banking on the popularity of these characters, maintaining and carrying them. But if these characters are wild, if these characters are crazy, if they lack identities, if they have broken installs, also if there's not a balance patch to go along with them that address the characters who already have these things, they will have a problem on their hands. So I hope all the time that they are taking, all the time that we are waiting, pays off at the end of the day, because a lot of Tekken players are very tired of waiting, and they're even tired of hearing people talking about them being tired. So the developers need to do something quickly to change the conversation, to breathe life back into this game. And I know we don't have expectations in these developers, but that doesn't mean that they should just allow that to exist.